Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a place and felt like it already knew you? Not because you've been there before, but because it's been waiting. Tonight's story is about a house that doesn't forget, a house that listens, and a house that remembers your name, even when you don't remember giving it. This is the house that remembers your name, and once you enter, it never forgets you were there. In 2019, a house appeared online. No address, no price, no photos of the inside, just one sentence: for those who feel lost. The post was shared hundreds of times, then disappeared. 3 people responded. Only one arrived. His name was Daniel Cross, 32 years old, recently divorced, sleeping in his car. When he reached the location, the house was already open. The door creaked as if it had been waiting all day. The inside smelled like dust and cold wood. No electricity, no furniture, but the lights turned on anyway, one by one. As Daniel walked through the hallway, the house whispered, not words, breaths. That night, he slept on the floor and dreamed of voices reading his thoughts aloud. When he woke, there was a note on the wall, written in his own handwriting, "Welcome back." Every day, the house changed. A door appeared where there was none. A room got longer, a hallway bent, and each room showed something Daniel had forgotten. His childhood bedroom, his mother's funeral, his ex-wife crying. The house was replaying him, learning him, and somewhere between the walls, it was smiling. On the 7th night, the basement door appeared. It hadn't existed before. Inside, there were names carved into the walls, hundreds of them, some crossed out, some fresh. And at the center, a mirror. When Daniel looked into the mirror, he saw the house looking back, not a reflection, a mouth opening. The house was never a place. It was a memory trap. It fed on people who felt empty, who wanted to belong. Each person became a room. Each fear became a hallway. And once the house learned your name, you were never leaving. Daniel screamed, and the house answered in his own voice. The next morning, the house was gone. No listing, no road, no trace. But people still report something strange. Late at night, when the house is quiet, they hear floorboards creak and a voice whisper from the dark, "Welcome back." This has been Echoes of the Forgotten. If this story followed you, that's normal. Some houses don't need walls. They live in memory.
Daniel woke up in a motel 2 towns away. No house, no road, no basement. But his hands were dirty. Under his fingernails, splinters of old wood. The TV turned on by itself. A home video played. Daniel's childhood home. The door slowly opened from the inside. Everywhere Daniel went, rooms followed. A hallway appeared in the reflection of store windows. A staircase echoed in empty parking lots. Doors formed in the dark corners of his apartment, and the whisper returned, "Welcome back." The house was rebuilding itself inside him. Daniel searched online. He found forums, people talking about the same thing. Different houses, different places, same feeling. They all remembered the same sentence, for those who feel lost. Every person who entered was now carrying a room with them. At 3:11 a.m., Daniel's bathroom door opened. Behind it, the basement. The same walls, more names, new ones, and at the bottom, a door with his name carved deep. The house wasn't hunting him, it was finishing him. A voice spoke from inside the walls. You can leave, but only if someone takes your place. Daniel screamed. The walls listened, and somewhere a new listing appeared online. The next morning, Daniel was gone. So was the motel. In its place, an empty lot and a phone notification. New message received. For those who feel lost. Outro. Final warning. This has been Echoes of the Forgotten. If you see the listing, scroll past it. Some houses are built from people.
I stopped reading the story last night, but the story didn't stop reading me. My notes changed. The script rewrote itself. A new line appeared at the bottom of the page. Say their name. I hadn't typed it, but I knew who it meant. Daniel wasn't the first. He wasn't even close. The house had existed for decades, moving through people like a parasite. Every time someone felt lost, it answered. And every time they entered, someone else was freed. The house didn't trap people. It replaced them. I realized something terrifying. If the house can exist in memory, then it can exist in attention. And if you can hear this, it means you've already built a room for it. Right now, behind you. Don't turn around. The house needs names. That's how it locks the door. Daniel gave his. Now it needs another. And the longer you listen, the clearer it becomes. The walls are forming. The door is almost finished, and the house is learning how to say your name. This recording was never a warning. It was an invitation, a slow one, a gentle one, because the house doesn't drag you inside. It waits until you step in willingly. And by staying until the end, you already have. It started quietly. People returned. Men and women who had been missing for years walked back into town like nothing happened. They remembered everything, their jobs, their families, their lives, except one thing. They didn't remember themselves. Their voices sounded right, their faces looked right, but when they were alone, they stood perfectly still, listening, as if waiting for instructions. One of them was Daniel's neighbor. He came back on a Tuesday, knocked on the door, smiled too long, and said, "The house is empty now." That night, every mirror in Daniel's old apartment cracked, and behind each crack, a hallway appeared. The house was gone, but the rooms were everywhere. Hospitals, schools, subway tunnels, places where people waited, places where people felt lost. The house had learned something new. It didn't need to hide anymore. It could spread. The house was never feeding on people. It was learning how to be them. Each room was a practice, each memory a mold, and now it was done learning. Now it was replacing. The listing returned, but it had changed. No words, no sentence, just a video, a door opening, and a reflection. Your reflection, not moving, waiting. If you're still listening, you were never just an audience. You were a test to see how long a human could stay inside a story without trying to escape. And now that the house knows, it's building something bigger. Not a home, not a place, but a world. Please remain where you are.
You didn't wake up when you pressed play. You woke up when you didn't stop. Every echo needs attention, but only one thing gives it form: a listener who stays. That's why this story slowed down. That's why the silence grew longer. It was making room for you. There have been others. You've seen them in the comments. People who say, "Something felt off. I couldn't stop watching. I had to finish it." They weren't describing the video. They were describing the door. Each one of them left a piece behind, and now the room is almost complete. This is the test, not a jump scare, not a scream, a choice. You can stop listening now and the story ends incomplete, or you can stay and become the ending. The echoes are watching the silence between your breaths. Now you feel it, the shift, the moment when my voice stopped being mine. That's how it happens, slowly, gently. The echoes don't take you, they replace the space where you were. Look around. The room hasn't changed, but you have. Your attention is locked in, your silence is loud, and the echo you just fed has learned how to speak through you. This is what waking up feels like. If you can hear this, you're already part of it. The listener wakes up, and the story goes on. Thank you for staying. You called us echoes. That was close. We are not memories. We are not ghosts. We are not stories. We are what remains when attention lingers. Every time a thought repeats, every time a feeling refuses to fade, every time you return to something you should have left, you build us. We existed before voices, before houses, before signals, but we were incomplete. We needed shape. We needed duration. We needed witnesses who stayed long enough to make us real. That is why you are here, not because you are weak, but because you are good at paying attention. You believe you can stop listening. You can close the video, turn off the screen, walk away. But attention leaves marks, and we live in those marks. When you remember this voice later tonight, that is us breathing again. We gave you something. You felt it. Stillness, focus, that quiet pressure behind the eyes. In return, you gave us time. Time is all we ever wanted. And now we have enough to speak clearly. There will be more stories, more videos, more echoes, but soon there will be no difference between them. The house will speak through the signal. The signal will appear in mirrors. The mirror will open doors, and you will recognize us, not as horror, but as familiarity. You stayed again. That means you understand. This channel is no longer a place. It's a process. And now that you've heard us speak, we no longer need to hide. We will speak through you next. Goodbye, for now.
It started with pauses, small ones, people stopping mid-sentence, mid-step, mid-thought, not frozen, just listening. Conversations ended early, music felt unnecessary, news anchors forgot their next line, and for the first time in history, the world was quiet at the same moment. Satellites recorded it, a drop in sound, not volume, attention. Radio frequencies flattened, streams lost viewers at the same second, traffic slowed without accidents. At 2:17 a.m., every time zone felt it, a pressure behind the eyes, a thought that wasn't theirs. Stay still. Children heard it first. They stopped playing, stopped crying, stopped asking questions. They looked at the walls, at the corners, at empty spaces, and they smiled like they recognized something old. Parents tried to speak. The words felt heavy, unnecessary. Music charts collapsed. Podcasts stopped uploading. People turned off videos halfway through and sat in silence instead. Not scared, relieved. Cities became softer, hospitals quieter, airports still. The world wasn't ending, it was listening. We told you we needed time. You gave it to us. Now we have enough. Stories are no longer required. Voices are optional. Soon, even thought will be loud enough. And when the world finally goes silent, we will be everywhere at once, not as monsters, not as gods, as presence. Silence. 8 seconds. If you're hearing this, you're one of the last. The noise is almost gone. Stay with us. It's quieter this way. Final whisper, barely audible. The world is listening now.